say, I do. How many worship you? Come on, get those hands in the air. I do worship you. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Community Shall Be Restored. I'm your host, Prophet Cedric Banks, along with
Prophetess Donetta Banks.
we have a dynamic show for you today. Outstanding community leader that's here today that's going to inform us on some valuable information for voting time. Some valuable information for voting time. And I know we got a lot of voters out there in the land and out there in the TV land. We have a lot of voters out there. And we have an outstanding person here today that's going to inform us with the knowledge today on the Community Benefits Agreement. Attorney Eric Williams, welcome to the Community Shall Be Restored television show. Welcome. You know, they have the Community Benefits Agreement that's going on right now. There's a lot of talk going on about the Community Benefits Agreement. I've seen some heated discussions on different panels with this Community Benefits Agreement. We just saw one last week. I'm not going to name the place, but it was on the east side of Detroit here. And oh boy, I mean, it was heated. And tell us, you're representing Proposal A.
Right.
You represent Proposal A. Now, tell us, then on the other hand, there's Detroit City Councilman Scott Benson and his liaison staff representing Proposal B. Now, tell us a little bit about A. There's people, we're seeing commercials on television, I think about Proposal B or A or one of them. And tell us about A, or just tell us about A. What is it about A? You know, we want to know. We need to know.
Okay. Well, Proposal A is a proposal that will create a requirement that projects over a certain size actually enter into a community benefits agreement when they're working in the city. Right. So under Proposal A, anytime a developer comes in and he gets, and the project itself is valued at more than $15 million, and they get more than $300,000 in public money, and that means either tax abatements or they get property under market value. Then they are required by this ordinance to enter into an agreement with the community, right? That can relate to historic preservation. It can relate to job training. It can relate to adopting a park. It can relate to environmental justice. Whatever the community feels is necessary, right, or they want to see, then they're required to work with the community to come up with a plan to sort of provide those benefits.
And that's Proposal A.
That's Proposal A.
So Proposal A is, I just heard you say, if I'm correct, I just heard you say where the community can enter into an agreement with the developers if they choose to.
Right.
So if they choose to, they can enter into an agreement.
Right. And just as importantly, the community can enforce the agreement, which means that it's up to the community to say, hey, they haven't been going along with what they promised. The community can say, you said you were going to do A, B, and C, and you haven't. And that's what we've seen a lot in Detroit.
Now,
promises made, not kept.
Okay, so A got the ability to enforce the agreement.
Right. The community can actually be the one to say, hey, there's a problem here.
Okay.
You don't have to rely on the city to say there's a problem and we want to do something about it.
So now let's go to B.
Okay.
Let's go to B. I want to ask you a question about B because we're getting somewhere now. I just sensed something. I just felt something. Can people voting for B, can they enforce the agreement?
Well, that relies on the city. And in most ways, it's exactly like what we have right now.
Okay.
the developer, like let's say it's Marathon or Olympia or Dan Gilbert, if they've made promises and they don't keep them, unless the city says something about it, there's nothing the average person can do about it. And that's exactly the way development is now. So that's part of the problem from my perspective of Proposal B. The other
okay, now let me ask you something right now. Is that because Proposal B, because B does not have a binding agreement?
Well, there can be a binding agreement, but it's not with the community.
Okay, it's not with the community.
It's with the city. So that under Proposal B, the community can say, the community forms a little committee called the Neighborhood Advisory Committee. And the Neighborhood Advisory Committee has a meeting with the developer, and they lay out a few things they'd like to see. But then if they don't do it, the community can't say, hey, we think there's a problem. The community can't go to court. The community can't force them into alternative dispute resolution. Like
so you can't.
The city has to do it.
Okay, so the community cannot hold them accountable.
Basically, that's it.
Okay, the community cannot hold them accountable, so they can't really fight.
They can try. They can yell, scream, and holler.
Yeah.
But that's about.
But really, they up against a no-win situation.
Yeah.
Because they don't have any rights and grounds in that. Or you say they don't have any rights and grounds in that area. Only the city can do this.
Right, because there's a binding contract under Proposal A. Okay. There's a binding contract between the developer and the community. Under Proposal B, if there's a binding contract, it's between the developer and the city of Detroit. Okay. So we can't enforce a contract, generally speaking, to which you aren't a party. If you didn't sign the contract, you can't enforce it. It wasn't for your benefit.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Just keep going on, Attorney Williams. You're making some real good points for those out there in TV land that want some clarity and some understanding on Proposal A and Proposal B.
Well, there's another significant difference between the two, and that's the level at which you're required to enter into an agreement with whoever, right? So under Proposal A, at $15 million, you are required to enter into an agreement, negotiate, sit down with the community. That amount is $75 million under Proposal B, which means if you had a $65 million project that got, say, $20 million worth of public funding, under Proposal B, they wouldn't be required to sit down with the community, not at all. Which I think is problematic because none of this, either Proposal A or Proposal B, none of them come into play unless you're taking public money. So the developers don't want to deal with that, build with their own dime. These things are only relevant when you're using the people's money to make a profit. That's when both proposals become relevant. But under Proposal B, there actually would never be a need to enter into one because the amount is so high that we almost never reach it.
Okay, I've been hearing on platforms people saying that if you vote for A, I've been seeing flyers and things like that, if you vote for A, that that will take away jobs in the community. Give us some clarity, shed some light on that, would you, Attorney Williams?
Yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I don't know why they're saying that. There's absolutely no.
Have you been hearing that?
Yeah, I've heard it all the time,
okay.
and there's absolutely no. They don't offer any evidence to support it, not a bit.
So it's nothing in the contract or the agreement supports what they're saying.
No, I mean, this is what's happening here. If you're a big company, let's say you're the International Bridge Company, and you want to come into Detroit. You're Matty Maroon, you want to do something in Detroit, but you don't want to have to deal with the public because they don't like you because you have buildings that you keep decrepit, or you leave buildings abandoned, you build toll plazas where you're not supposed to, you defy federal court orders, you lie and you don't keep your promises. So let's say you're that company and you come into and you're going to do another development in the city. Would you support an ordinance that required you to deal with the city, to deal with the community before you got public money, or would you rather just be able to do business as usual and just deal with, let's say, our mayor in order to get public money, right? I mean, which would you prefer? So really that's what's happening. The developers, the people, of course, they're going to want as few strings as possible on any public money that they get. I mean, I don't blame them. That's just kind of the way it is. People want to be able to get money, get money for nothing. And that's really kind of what they want. You can't expect them to do otherwise, right? But the biggest point to remember is this. Proposal B changes nothing about the way development happens in Detroit right now. It doesn't change a single thing. The city, our city council, and mostly our mayor and his appointees will be the one who decide if a developer hasn't fulfilled his promises and we should do something about it. Well, right now they never do that. That's the way things are right now. And you keep hearing about two Detroits. You keep hearing about the growing gap between the have and the have-nots in Detroit. Because while downtown and midtown look great, last I checked, the rest of the city looks about the same as it has since I was growing up here. Right? Proposal B does absolutely nothing to slow that down, to stop developers from coming into communities, gentrifying them, acting as though the people who are already there, the institutions, the history, the culture that are already there, don't exist because they're not required to deal with the community. If we want to change that, Proposal A is our best chance, because while there are developers who will walk in and they care about where they're building, right, or what they're building, they will engage the community willingly, too many won't, and Proposal A will prevent that.
Attorney Williams, what is some of the positive benefits that you may not have mentioned at this time that Proposal A brings to the table?
It allows the community itself to figure out what's important. Right? You could pass a law that said anybody who got public money to build, to create a development had to, had to rehab old buildings. But in some communities, that's not what's important, right? In some communities, environmental justice is more important. In some places, maintaining public spaces is more important. One of the things about Proposal A is it allows the community, right, the folks who live where this development is taking place, it allows them to decide what's most important to us. What do we need to make our community a stronger place? And inevitably make the development a stronger development, right? I mean, because the greater the community has a stake in your development, the greater their stake in your development, the more they're going to be supportive of it. So it's actually the smart move, and it actually gives communities a chance to have some control over their own future rather than having, say, a Duggan appointee decide what he wants the community to look like, which is what happens under the planning director of development and planning actually is in charge of virtually everything.
So
that's the problem.
Who appoints the developer in B?
The planning development is from the mayor.
From the mayor. So Mayor Duggan appoints the developer under.
He appoints the planning, the person, director of planning development. That's
the plan development in B.
Right.
Okay.
So, and the person in charge of planning development sets the agenda, calls the first meeting, determines exactly who's going to be notified about the development. They determine sort of what the priorities are. They determine if there's been a violation of a promise. He determines, he even actually names 4 of the 7 people, 4 of the 9 people on the neighborhood advisory committee. So he's really an integral part of it. And his job isn't to look out for the community. Look at it, his job, and what he's urged to do in Proposal B, is expedite, to help out developers. That's his job. His job isn't to look out for the community. So it's really not even fair to put that person in the position of working on behalf of the community, because that's not his job.
So the mayor, so you're saying the mayor, that's not his job to look out for the community?
Well, this planning director. So it's kind of like...
let's get a little clarity on that.
So the mayor appoints the director of planning. The director of planning's job is to make sure developments happen as quickly and as efficiently as possible. His job is not to make sure that those developments necessarily reflect what the community wants. That's not his job, right? I mean, and in fact, it doesn't say that anywhere in Proposal B, and it gives him all this authority, but all it says is he's supposed to be expediting development, right? It doesn't say anywhere he's supposed to be prioritizing the interests of the community. So you really can't expect him to do that. What he's being evaluated on in his job, if he was told, my job is to expedite development, make it happen as quickly and as efficiently as possible, Why do you expect him to care about getting involved with the community and listening, taking time to listen to their concerns? That's not his job.
Okay. Got a question for Attorney Williams. We're talking about today the community benefits agreement. We have Eric Williams here today. He's an attorney, and let the community know where you're from.
Well, I'm from here, 696 area.
Okay. Your organization?
I'm a law professor at Wayne State University Law School. So my role in this, going out and speaking on behalf of Proposal A, is volunteer work. I know the people who were involved in initially pushing this forward over in the North End, the Roots of Rise Detroit, the Sugar Law Center for Social and Economic Justice. These organizations are really, sort of compassionate organizations that I've worked with before, and so they're good nonprofits. And so when I listened to them describe what it was, and I read the proposal language, I was like, well, how can I help?
Okay. You have a question for Eric Williams, Wayne State University law professor.
What would you tell the community as far as the importance of voting and the difference it will make and the impact it will make on the city of Detroit and their lives? What would you tell them now that you have this opportunity?
I'll say this. The most important thing you can do is vote, not just at the federal level, like the presidential election, but also pay attention to the judges and this proposal. Detroit's future is going to be shaped by the way development happens. It's going to determine, how public transit plays out. It's going to determine how schools play out. We rely so much on public-private partnerships, right? And what's going to make a difference is how the private part, how those private businesses interact with the community. This is our chance to make sure we have a voice. This is our chance to remind people development isn't the same thing as gentrification.
Right.
You can have gentrification. You can have development without gentrification. And this is probably our one chance to actually make sure that happens.
Right. So how much does the future, are you saying the future of Detroit, the outcome of this community benefits agreement, the outcome of this, it has a role as shaping the future of Detroit for the near future?
Oh, very much so.
And tell us a little bit about that, because the community out there, they're wondering, how does this here play a role as shaping the future of the city of Detroit? I want you to take the next 2 minutes. We're here today with Attorney Eric Williams, law professor at Wayne State University. Take the time out the next 2 minutes and let the community, address the community on that, Attorney Williams, would you?
Well, if you've ever seen a development pop up in your neighborhood and you didn't know it was coming, or suddenly there's been a change in something, it can be kind of frustrating to think, okay, they took my tax money to do this, and they didn't ask my opinion. I don't have any role in it. People down in the Southwest in particular know this feeling with, with Marathon, people who live, in Old Pass Corridor, they know with the new arena. There have been so many examples of this. If we want to see the future of our city decided by us, by the people who live here, by the people who are going to be living here and have lived here, then we need to change the way business is done. And right now, Proposal B doesn't. It's the same way things have always been done. This is a chance for communities to actually seize control of their future.
All righty. Wow. What a dynamic show today. Attorney Eric Williams from Wayne State University, law professor, here today representing Proposal A and B. So we got clarity today on Proposal A and B from law professor, Attorney Eric Williams. But I've been your host today, Prophet Cedric Banks, here on the Community Shelby Restored Television Show, along with
Prophet Banks.
And along with
Eric Williams.
From where?
Wayne State University Law School.
All righty. We'll see you next Saturday, right here on Comcast TV 90 at 8 p.m. Welcome to the Community Show. Be Restored. I'm your host, Prophet Cedric Banks, along with
Prophetess Dinetta Banks.
Got a good show for you today. A good show for you today. We have here a young lady running for 36th District Court judge. Now, let me tell you now, there's 3 different races in this political race for judge. There's 3 36th District Court judge races. Is that correct? 3. So we have this young lady. She's an attorney now, been an attorney for many years, but she's looking to go to the next level to become a judge at 36th District Court. And she's a wise lady, because anytime you're running for 36th District Court, you have to be a lawyer for at least 5 years.
That's correct.
I'm learning. Well, look at that. You have to be a lawyer for at least 5 years. You have to be practicing law, a lawyer for at least 5 years. And she's done it. And not only that, she's gotten past the primaries. The primary race in August, she defeated some pretty good competition, and now she is in the general election. The general election. That's the final election now. And when you get this far, hold it down. When you get this far, it's anybody's ball game now.
It sure is. But I want to say this. It's not that you have to be practicing law for 5 years. You have to be licensed to practice law for 5 years. That's the difference, because I've got somebody in my race that I've heard has not actually practiced law.
Really?
Yes. So there's a difference between I'm a trial lawyer, as are 2 of the other people in my race. We are in a courtroom just about every day. And there's one person who's not.
Okay.
Who has not been a trial lawyer, who has not tried a case, to my understanding. So it's a very important distinction.
Can I ask you this, then? They have not tried a case. Are they in the general election?
Yes.
Okay, you don't have to name no names. Okay? But how did they get this far then?
Well,
Is it favor, or is it a crooked system, or do you want to elaborate? How did they get this far if they don't have the criteria and to be in this general? How did they get this far? You don't have to name no names or anything.
I would say that this person is endorsed by the mayor.
Oh.
And
well, you ain't even got to say no more. You ain't even got to say no more. Okay, because, I'm a TV talk show host, I'm a bishop, and I'm not really solid in the political field, okay? But I have some basics. Okay, you just said it all there, and, sometimes it's who you know, not what you know.
And
but
who can get you some money to do a lot of ads and a lot of other things. But,
wow.
That doesn't mean that that's the best person. And for me, I live in this city, and I know there's new Detroit and old Detroit, and I am proudly old Detroit. And I believe that the mayor's interests, now that's just my opinion, lie with new Detroit.
Okay.
And old Detroit, where, I live in a house, my aunt, she's like my grandmother, she bought it in 1948.
1948.
So I have commitment to my neighborhood. My neighborhood may not be a beautiful neighborhood with $500,000 house.
What district you live in?
I live in District 5. I live by Mack and McDougal. And I live in Mary Sheffield's district.
Okay, yeah, Mary Sheffield.
I live behind Fago.
Okay, yeah, that's the Gratiot area.
Yes.
Gratiot.
So I'm definitely in the hood. When I say that on my flyer I have experience, honest, fair, just, like you, when I say I'm like the citizens, I'm really like the citizens. I live in the city, I experience things. Everybody in the race lives in the city. Right. But one thing I comment about a lot is that I am the only person in my race who does not live in Sherwood, Forest, or Palmer Woods. And I believe as a citizen of the city, there's a big distinction between how people live in those privately patrolled communities versus in regular communities like mine.
Okay. Oh, wow, that is really, really good today. And I was just looking, Attorney Davis, at your mother here out in the audience, and she just looks so happy for you, so proud for you. Mama just looks so happy for you and so proud for you. And we so happy. We so happy to have Mama. We so happy to have Mama here today. And wow, you know, and that's amazing. Sometimes it's in life, you know, it's about who you know. It's not about what you know. And when you know the people that can get you in high places, even though you may not have the qualifications for that position and things like that, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. You know, it doesn't make it right and everything. But you
I know somebody in high place.
Yeah.
My mama made sure that I know somebody in high place.
That's right, and that's the highest place. That is the highest place.
I know a kingmaker.
Okay, that's good.
So.
And that is the highest. That is the highest place, right there. You know who you can know, and things like that. That is the highest place. You know, now what race are you in, Attorney Davis? Because there's 3 different races. The people out there. Now we just interviewed. Also, I just want to let you know we just interviewed Eric Williams, Wayne State law professor. He represented Proposal A and B, and the reason why he interviewed Proposal A and B, we did invite the Scott Benson Detroit City Council Scott Benson camp out. They were on. I had a platform on Friday night. They were there Friday night. We invited them out for here today at 2 o'clock. And Eric Williams, Attorney Eric Williams, Wayne State law professor, showed up. No one from the Scott Benson camp has showed up at this time. So, matter of fact, you were there on Friday night. Attorney Davis, what did you think of that forum on Friday night we put together?
I thought the forum was great. I loved the turnout. I loved, you know, the involvement of people who were there. I loved the interest. I thought it was great to have so many bus drivers there talking about RTA. I just really thought everything about it was great, and you had some good food. So
Exactly. We definitely ate good. I ate good. I had 2 or 3 plates. Attorney Davis, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take the next 2 minutes, and close us on out. What's your what are you bringing to the bench at 36th District Court? What are you bringing to the bench at 36th District Court as an attorney and as a judge? What will you be bringing to the bench?
Again, I'm Kalilia Davis for 36th District Court. I'm running for one of the 2 open seats. And although the ballot will say vote for not more than 2, I'm asking people to vote for 1. It's like voting for me twice. And what I'm going to bring to the bench is fairness, true fairness. I'm going to bring compassionate justice. And if you've ever went to court, been to court with a relative, and you said, I wish that I had a judge who understood me or who was like me, this is your opportunity to get somebody like you on the bench. Because I believe in giving people second chances. I believe in taking into consideration financial status when assessing fines and costs. I believe that young people make mistakes and we should give them second chances. I believe there's over-criminalization in this city. And I believe that judges are participating in it by binding over cases on felony charges that should not be bound over, or at least not bound over as charged. I believe that the prosecutor's office is overcharging people, and that judges at 36th District have a responsibility and a duty, if a person is overcharged, to reduce that charge. And if they're charged with something they shouldn't be, to kick that charge. People should pay for what they've done, Amen. But not be overcharged for what they've done.
Amen.
All right. What a show here today. Attorney Davis here, running for 36th District Court. And the general election is November the 8th. So keep that in your heart and your mind. I've been your host today, Prophet Cedric Banks, along with
Prophet Donetta Banks.
And along with
Kalilia Davis for 36th District Court Judge.
Kalilia Davis for 36th District Court Judge. We'll see you right here next Saturday night at 8 p.m. right here on Comcast 90. Community shall be restored TV.
Can I get a witness? How many worship God?